are talking about the action horror movie, The Divine Fury. This one is a Korean movie directed and written by Joo-hwan Kim, and tells the story of a young man who, at a young age, suffers a kind of tragedy, and as such kind of loses his religion, he loses his faith basically, and instead he basically builds himself up to be a kind of a badass kind of MMA style kind of fighter. However, fate seems to have plans for him, and he is drawn into the world of demons and demonic possession, and ends up kind of being kind of forced to fight for the forces of good against the demon kind of underworld, so to speak, by punching it in the face with no less than a flaming fist. So let's talk about The Divine Fury. So this is a fun, almost a B-movie, kind of Korean action horror movie that has its kind of tongue-in-cheek. This movie does have a little bit of a kind of less than serious approach, shall we say. It's not an all-out comedy, but there are kind of like, you know, humorous kind of elements to this movie. But it's incredibly well shot, first of all. I thought this movie, the cinematography and the kind of like the real sheen that the feel of this film has really does make it look like a, you know, a top tier production. In reality, it's, you know, obviously it's not a mega budget movie, but it just has this, I mean, admittedly somewhat maybe overproduced kind of look, to be honest, maybe even slightly kind of stylized to a certain degree, but you know, really does have almost a comic book kind of feel to it that I feel really kind of works in its favour and kind of makes you feel like you're watching this kind of like this hyper reality in this kind of like this stylized way. I thought our central character is actually kind of quite a likeable kind of guy, someone who you can kind of root behind, and when we do have our kind of our martial arts things, they are pretty spectacular. I thought the prosthetics and the kind of like the kind of the demon sort of style creatures pretty good, and you know, they're amped up by having almost supernatural powers with the kind of like for our good guys as well. So that's actually sort of quite fun. And the movie, I would say, is overall a pretty fun ride. On the downside, there's less action than I was expecting. This being a kind of MMA versus demons movie, ultimately, you would think there'd be a lot of it, but although there are action sequences in here, there isn't quite as many as you may expect. Outside of that, I would say sometimes the acting is a little wonky. It's difficult to really kind of tell for me, to be honest with you, when I'm watching foreign language movies, because you know, I don't know exactly what they're kind of saying translation-wise. So it's difficult to gauge the emotions of the actual words that they're saying, but you do get the impression that it's somewhat overacted, but maybe that could arguably be the maybe the style of kind of maybe Asian cinema here. You know, but there you go, kind of go. And to be honest with you, it's maybe a little bit cheesy for some. I mean, the movie just is a little bit kind of like, as I've mentioned, it's kind of a comic book feel, and some people who are maybe more of a kind of dangerous kind of like Exorcist style movie, a bit more kind of horror involved, maybe kind of put off by its kind of comic book, but then somewhat kind of cheesy kind of atmosphere. But overall, this movie is a lot of fun. It's got likeable kind of character, pretty decent kind of martial arts sequences that are really kind of amped up with kind of special effects. And yeah, overall a fairly decent movie. I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.